This time on the Serve to Perform podcast.
I would define it as a partnership. And, even at the onset of our relationship, my thoughts were, here's another development organization, right? Another coaching group, kind of all heard the same things, having gone through development before. But the thing I really enjoyed most was the time that David and Carol spent with us at the beginning.
Welcome back to the Serve to Perform podcast, and welcome back to another client relationship episode. Today we have Mr. Tim Bashirs with us. Tim, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, yeah. So Tim, you're with the Girl Scouts.
Correct.
Let's talk a little bit about that. What do you do with the Girl Scouts specifically?
Yeah, so I serve as our Chief Operations Officer with the Girl Scouts. We're spread out throughout the state of Arkansas and get to really help lead in our areas of operation, be it human resources, information technology, risk management, camps, the full spectrum.
Yeah, that's awesome. How long have you been with the Girl Scouts?
About 6 years.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. We wanted to, before we dove really into this whole topic and conversation, we really wanted to applaud your efforts in leadership and executive development, executive coaching, and all of that, because you're our main contact when it comes to our client relationship with you guys, and you have been a paver of the way, I guess you could say, of all of the client relationships that we've had with you guys specifically. So we wanted to take time to thank you and just thank you for all that you've done with our relationship when it comes to you guys specifically.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Yeah, of course. So we're doing the full performance GPA suite training with you guys, including our performance GPA handbook, with the 7 enablers and all of that. So what has your experience been with on that training specifically?
It has been an excellent journey for us. So one of the things our organization prides itself on has been development. We develop all the time, right? But to have a series like this that occurs over a period of time and is not just a single webinar or one session, but continues to build, that's been the most helpful thing because we've been introduced to new tools, get a chance to use it in a sandbox environment, and then get to add to it. And so we're becoming even more skilled in the technical realm of leading as opposed to just taking little sound bites and trying to apply it to our everyday work.
Exactly, yeah. And so who's been able to participate in this training with us specifically when it comes to you guys as staff?
Yeah, so it's been our entire executive team, so our whole chief suite, but also our whole director team.
Yeah.
And so for us internally, we call that our leadership team, and it's about 15 of us that have been able to go through this journey together.
That's so awesome. Yeah, and specifically, too, having that many people be able to, like you said, go through it together has probably been something that you've noticed a big change in, because one thing we love here at Serve to Perform is to bring a whole group together and say, okay, we're going to go through this, and it's not going to be 2 or 3, but it's going to be 15 or 20. To really get that group morale, that team morale built and strong together, if that makes sense. So as far as executive coaching, you guys have been able to do some executive coaching with us. How has that experience been when it comes to that?
It's been excellent. So I personally got to participate in executive coaching individually, but also help guide others into taking on those commitments in executive coaching. It has been a great service to our organization. Obviously, each leader is developing in different areas of their executive presence and things like that. But we've seen changes departmentally for us that have made us more efficient. The ability to lead and manage has increased, and then overall, it's uplifted the whole organization.
That's so awesome, and that's obviously music to our ears, right? That's what we want to hear when it comes to any client relationship that we have. And so one of the things that we've talked about before and what we have with Carol and what you guys have talked about with Carol is that strategic thinking has been something that has really come out of the sessions with us. Touch on that if you want to.
Yeah, so strategic thinking. I think that this is what I've enjoyed is the full package, right?
Yeah.
So the pairing of the executive coaching with the leadership development series, the 7 steps, the SEAL leadership series, and how that has allowed us, one, to speak all the same language.
Yeah.
Right? So when one person goes and gets this, they start speaking, but other people don't understand what's being said. And now we're all speaking the same language. And especially as it relates to strategic thinking, strategic mindset, because we're all speaking the same language, we're all understanding the same process, And so we're getting to move together as opposed to one or two people trying to drag other people with us, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And so we've been more efficient. And the thing that's been most helpful to us is what we call organizational agility, right? It's covered there in our material. And we've been more agile. Our directors have been more agile, our chiefs in the way we work with each other. Yeah. And has allowed us to really move leaps and bounds in the progress of our organization.
Yeah, that's so awesome. And something too, in almost all of Leo McKnight's podcasts that we've done, we always go back to the topic of having that team surrounding you, that strong team environment, and having everybody equal, right? Like you said, not having people behind, not having people way out in front, but having everybody in unison, almost locked arms together, and uniting together to go toward a common cause and to figure out how the best way to attack a problem or a plan is. And so it's so awesome to hear that that's been something that's translated into y'all's everyday work life. And so as far as your overall relationship, client relationship with us, how has that been? How would you describe the S2P team and culture here?
I would define it as a partnership. And, you know, even at the onset of our relationship, my thoughts were, here's another development organization, right? Another coaching group. Kind of all heard the same things, having gone through development before. But the thing I really enjoyed most was the time that David and Carol spent with us at the beginning, right? Of going, tell me about your organization. What is the Girl Scouts, right? So many people think, you know, we're just the girls that have the cute uniforms, or we're just the cookies you buy in the springtime, right? But Carol and David took the time to understand the different nuances, how we operate. We're not in this office. We're spread out all over the state in parts of Arkansas and Texas. They listened. And then as we kept pressing on, our regular touch-base meetings with Carol have been incredibly helpful, right? And so Carol, as she's been leading us through this leadership development series, we didn't just sign an agreement, right? And then all of a sudden, once a month, we just hop on to a training session. But we meet with Carol on a regular basis to go, how is this training working? Is it hitting where we need it to hit for us as an organization? How can we continue to tweak so we're hitting all of the points that you need as an organization?
Exactly.
So we feel heard.
Yeah, which is huge, right? Yeah. Especially for us and what we do and how we are people developers, right? Our company specifically, we're so focused on making people better people. And if we can't hear you, if we can't hear an organization and we can't understand how that organization works, then we on our end will never be able to live up to what we can, our full potential, what we can do for you guys. And so that discovery process is huge. It's huge for what we do, but it's huge for you guys. It's huge for you guys to feel heard, to know that we hear you, to know that we want to work with you and make whatever problems you have less of a problem or help you kind of maneuver through a work environment. So that's awesome. That's so awesome to hear. Do you have anything else you want to add or anything you want to touch on?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say just a further testimony to what SERVE2PERFORM has to offer. So we initially engaged with SERVE2PERFORM on some assistance with some executive coaching, but really went all in on this leadership development series. And as we've come to understand the benefit that that's had, you know, we renewed an additional agreement to get more people engaged on the executive coaching. And so I can't praise that enough. One, of just getting to see the difference for me, but also at the Girl Scouts, we really promote a culture of coaching. So as we as leaders go through this coaching, we are passing that down to the people that we get to work with, right? And so it just continues to fill our organization with blessing and benefit.
Awesome. Tim, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for giving us a praising and hopefully going to continue on praising testimony. And thank you for all that you do. Thank you for your leadership when it comes to the Girl Scouts and spearheading the relationship with us. And we appreciate you greatly.
We appreciate you. Thanks.